Hey, welcome back. Thank you for being patient, for coming back to the Badass Women of Hearthstone North America Top 8. I am Wicked Good. I am joined here by Kat, and we have for you today a rematch of Teebs versus Slysssa. Kat, how are you doing? It's a little bit late for you. Thank you for staying up with us.
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm excited to cast this series again. So I was casting it last time. I think it's going to be very, very different this time. Different decks, different meta with the patch. So it's going to be super interesting to see.
Yeah, you were just saying before we started the cast that last time that these two met up in the tournament, Teebs swept with Oddrogue, and Oddrogue is not it's definitely not what it used to be. So Teebs this time around bringing Quest Rogue, Odd Paladin, Mid Range Hunter, and Cloning Gallery Priest, and her Quest Rogue has been banned out, and Slysssa bringing Control Priest, Malygos Druid, Death Rattle Hunter, and Odd Warrior, and her Odd Warrior has been banned out. So based on that, what does this look like, and what does each player need to do in order to be able to secure the victory?
Okay, so I'm looking at this and this has like a lot of sort of anti-aggro text in there. So if the Malygos Druid, you got all the Spreading Plague and stuff like that. You have the Control Priest, which again just shuts down aggro. So that's like it's quite rough for the Hunter and Paladin already of Teebs to begin with. So what that kind of leans towards that like Teebs needs to do good with her priest. I think her cloning gallery priest is going to be key to how this series goes.
Yeah, and being last hero standing, she can just sweep with the Cloning Gallery Priest. Or I guess there's probably some opportunity for her to be able to high roll with the mid-range hunter and just kind of get under things like the Control Priest or the Malygos Druid, right? Like that does happen sometimes, certainly not as often against the Malygos Druid, but sometimes you can kind of get a jump on a Control Priest if you're lucky with the draws and you get a big hyena early.
Yeah, for sure. That hunter could like although it's unfavored, that hunter can do anything. And I suppose the same can be said to Old Paladin a bit as well. Witch's Cauldron is a card that exists. It can give some crazy stuff to beat anything potentially.
Yeah, and is there anything that's in Teeb's deck list that could give her a little bit of help against Slyssa's brought, or are these pretty much just standard lists that we're looking at?
So looking to it, I mean the Odd Paladin's fairly standard. It's the sort of one divine favor, one which is Cauldron build. No Void Ripper, sort of to leave the Malygos Druids. That's kind of an important thing to know. The Hunter the hunt is very interesting, I think. So it's mid-range hunter, but there's no hyenas in there, and hyenas, I think, is
Hmm.
one of the best way to steal a win. So it's got plated beetles in the same slot, and two dire frenzies as well. That's sort of the interesting text in there, I think.
So what would that be tacking against? Would that be tacking against more of some of the OTK burn decks, or something like an odd secret mage in order to try to get a little bit of extra armor and maybe outlast some of those OTKs? Or because it seems like hyenas, the way that deck wins a lot of the time, it seems a little bit unorthodox to cut that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to say, really. I mean, obviously, I guess, yeah, the plated beetles leans more towards armor, so it's maybe a bit more anti-aggro, like maybe for the mirror. I'm not too sure. I'm not very familiar with this sort of tech in there.
Yeah. And as far as what Slyssa's brought, I mean, I would imagine Teebs probably didn't spend a lot of time testing against Malygos Druid with this lineup. Is there anything that can help her get a bit of an edge against that mid-range hunter? Because again, those decks that are slower sometimes just can get run over if the mid-range hunter gets a good start.
Yeah, it's honestly hard to say. I was watching Slysssa quite a bit, sort of on stream this afternoon, and she was actually crushing hunters with this
Yeah.
Malygos Druid, from what I could see. Even without the ramp, she was just doing very well to sort of use all the armor again just to sort of get past that damage that the hunter can do, because hunter can easily do 30 damage, so the armor gain is like super key there. The plague restore, and just forgetting about sort of the OTK, the burst of Malygos, and just using them tools to control the board for the most part.
Yeah, and I'm noticing in the control priest, she's running 2 copies of Dragon Maw Scorcher, which it seems like a clear nod towards expecting a lot of Odd Paladin, and that'll probably do some good for her if she ends up facing it.
Yeah, I think between Mass Hysteria, the Dragon Maw Scorcher, Psychic Scream, and the Disc Breaker, like that Odd Paladin, like will not be able to touch the priest. Like,
Yeah, it can be kind of a rough ride. So I think the players are getting ready. I'm not sure how close we are to. Oh, it looks like we are actually underway. So yep. So
yeah,
we're just waiting for Spectate to catch up, and then looks like we're going to see Slysssa bringing that Malygos Druid, and Teebs is going to start off with the Cloning Gallery Priest. So we will go into match and catch these mulligans. And Slysssa getting ramp right off the bat, getting Wild Growth and Nourish at those exciting 3 and 6 mana costs, and Teebs getting a Ziliax and a Lyra, but also finding a copy of Shadow Visions to start digging for some burn to be able to burn down the Malygos Druid.
yeah. So I'm looking at his hand, and this is almost the dream Druid hand, right? You have the ramp, you have the weapon. One thing I will say is that obviously I think the Cloning Gallery Priest is a bit faster than Malygos Druid in general, just because of the potential of that Cloning Gallery. So having this super fast start, the weapon, the Malygos already, and the ramp, it's gonna, I think, puts Slysssa already in a commanding lead, just from the mulligan alone.
Yeah, and I guess we should point out Teebs is playing the version that runs Lyra and Witchwood Grizzly and Lich King. So the 80 damage, 90 damage Vivid Nightmare plan is not as much on the table. Just checking to see if she's not running any copies of Vivid Nightmare. So that's generally how one of these Cloning Gallery priests can get over the amount of armor that something like a Druid can put together. Because even though it's a little bit slower, the Druid can still put up a lot of armor, and it sometimes can be hard for the Cloning Gallery priest to chew through.
Yeah, you should expect at least sort of 40, 50 armor, I think, by the time sort of you're ready to pull off that combo. So she may have to go default to strategy number 2, which is to build a wall, basically. Build a wall, get lots of Lich Kings and whatever. The Druid only has 2 naturalizers in the deck, and then they're sort of done for removal.
Yeah, maybe hope to scream a spreading plague into the deck or something to slow it down, something like that. And because 40, 50 armor is kind of a reasonable armor total for a Druid, I suppose. So
we're used to it these days, I think.
yeah. So Slysssa looking at that the Twig of the World tree, and looks like she's going to get that online and start building up the swings against that. Trying to decide, I guess, where this swing is going to go, or if she wants to Wrath or Hero Power.
Yeah, it looks like she's gonna Wrath to get through this Radiant Element, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely had to respect them things. Sort of Radiant plus turn 5 means you can like Shadow Essence into something very nasty.
Yeah, and so Teebs just going to tempo out a Lyra here. Really the only thing that she had to do, and kind of hoping that this will distract Slysssa from whatever plans she has, though. Nourish is still pretty good on 6.
Yeah, interesting she chooses to go for the mana there rather than the card draw. I'm looking at this hand, it's like it's very dead for Slysssa, I think.
Yeah, and choosing to leave the Lyra up with a Shadow Visions coming into hand for Teebs. Teebs also looking to Eternal Servitude to revive the Radiant Elemental and be able to get some more value out of this Lyra turn while she has it available to her. Picking up a Thought Steal and another Shadow Visions. Howard Shield's good too.
Yeah, this is already getting crazy. I mean, you said the deck doesn't run Vivid Nightmare. It does, just when it wants to, when Lyra wants to give you it.
It runs Vivid Nightmare sometimes.
It runs every pre-spell.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that the Thought Steal is interesting too, because that could give her access to some of Slyssa's armor, especially with most of those armor generation cards. I think all the armor generation cards still in the deck for Slysssa. That could actually give her a little bit of extra sustainability against a Malygos turn.
Yeah, that's actually quite insane, because obviously the full combo for Malygos is usually 30 damage, 2 swipes, 2 Moonfires, Malygos, and this matchup, you're probably not going to be hitting face with minions too much.
No, and imagine not with Lich Kings and Witchwood Grizzlies in the way. So Ferocious Howl will start that armor train, get the she used the second Nourish to get the Arcane Tyrant free, and then can use this this Jasper Spellstone. Well, I guess she can innervate out the Jasper Spellstone to deal with one of these minions if she so chooses. I would think that's more than enough value out of Lyra for one set of turns. At least make her spend a resurrect to get that back.
Yeah, that Lyra's literally giving everything you already want.
Yeah, and
done its job.
Yeah, Spellstone into hand so that can start getting built up for Teebs as well, and another Shadow Visions. This being the Shadow Visions that came off of the Lyra, just to get additional value out of her own deck.
So what are you looking for from this? Are you looking for burn damage? Are you looking for resurrect? Are you looking for like a cloning gallery, do you think?
I mean, you want a cloning gallery first. That not being an option, I think you take burn over the resurrect with the Spellstone already having been picked up. I mean, you are going to have to resurrect a few boards, but probably not too many if you can live through the Malygos turn. And Ziliax is going to come down, presumably heal up this 3 damage that's already on face. Every point of damage against a Malygos Druid is going to be critical.
Yeah, you can sort of just opt not to attack with Ziliax here as well.
Yeah.
Just block a bit more damage, stop that weapon getting a little bit of chip damage first.
Yeah, and I mean, Slysssa can just hero power and go through the Ziliax, but that's still going to be 3 damage to face, which could be relevant given that the Cloning Gallery Priest is a little bit more its cap is a little bit lower than the Malygos Druid usually.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this hand. It's just Slysssa right now. She's literally got the full Malygos combo hand. The twig ready. I'm feeling a little bit bad for Teebs right now because this exact same thing happened to her in, I think, her winners bracket match. When she played Quest Rogue, she sort of got a really fast, good Quest Rogue start. Turn 8, turn 9 happened, and suddenly sort of 30 damage out of nowhere. So if Teebs doesn't gain armor this turn in somewhere, she's just dead.
Or she could just win with the Cloning Gallery. Does she have any? She has a Holy Smite.
And a Mind Blast.
That's it. And a
She has
Mind Blast. Is that,
yeah.
Oh, she does have the Mind Blast. So as long as this hits, that is exact lethal.
Yeah, especially if you don't need armor if your opponent's dead. That's fine as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's one way to not have to worry about it. Just, get them. Oh, it's not exactly lethal because it's Holy Smite's 14. Yeah. But that's...
At the exact mana,
That was a much faster game than I was kind of expecting. And just Slysssa just whiffing on the armor and really just one turn away despite sitting there with a bunch of what are really whiffs for the early game. Still was literally one turn away from lethal, and just that top deck of the Cloning Gallery just able to defuse that Malygos Druid, which is going to be a problem for the rest of her lineup.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. That was quite literally a steal, I think, the way that top deck came in. I think that was super necessary for that series as well. We said how sort of problematic that Druid's going to be and how this priest has to win.
And that makes it a lot easier if she has to go to the Odd Paladin. Not having that Malygos Druid in play anymore has got to be making Teebs feeling a little bit better about how the rest of this matchup's going to go.
Yep, so I think the way it's going to go is she's going to stay at the Odd Paladin to get past the Hunter. So it's just can this priest survive here?
Yeah, and it's not having the hyenas may make it a little bit easier for her. Or no, Slyssa's the Death Rattle Hunter. So that's going to come down to whether Teebs can get her Psychic Screams to line up correctly and be able to deal with some of these early threats. Yeah,
it's a complex matchup the way it sort of goes because of how the Screams and the Mass Hysterias line up.
Yeah, and Mass Hysteria sometimes can do more harm than good, depending on what the state of the board looks like.
Yeah, Slyssa's a great part of this deck though. These Fireflies are her own little tech. She's recently sort of top 25 in this deck as well, I think.
Yeah, she's very high legend right now. She may be out of the top 100, but she's very close, and 104 as of right now. And the Devil's Sore Egg on 3 is exactly what she's looking like. Katharina, that she's going to have available to play with for herself on curve, along with Houndmaster Shaw, and even a Spider Bomb to be able to deal with one of the big problematic minions should it come down. Though Teebs does have the cloning gallery in hand as well.
Yeah, let's look at another game where both players have exactly what they want. I think Teebs is going to be fishing for some burn, and I think Slyssa's just going to be rushing through all of these threats as fast as she can.
Yeah, and just going to put down the Houndmaster Shaw on curve and faces the place.
Yeah, very interesting choice to go first there. Just think she knows this matchup well. Just wants to rush the priest down as fast as she can. No respect for Radiant Elemental, which I think most people would probably take that trade there.
Yeah, I mean, that I would certainly be tempted to take that trade just because it's such a threatening minion, and you do have things like this with the free powered shield and even potentially coin Shadow Essence. But Slysssa has to know she really just does not have time. If you let the cloning gallery priest hang around, they're going to burn you down eventually, and she doesn't really have any way other than Rexar to be able to armor up.
Yeah, so Teed's missing her main burn and the Mind Blast going through 2 Shadow Visions are a little bit unfortunate, but if you can get that Cloning Gallery off, 2 Holy Smites is 28 damage and get there.
Yeah, it's most of the time against Death Rattle Hunter, you can get a little bit of chip damage, especially if Slyssa's plan is going to be all face. There is the Deathstalker Rexar, however, that could change the texture of this matchup a little bit.
Yeah, it can get a little bit weird if Rexar comes down and the Freeze can get their combo off as well.
Yeah. And that trade will eliminate the rest of Teebs' board, get a Kaliseth down, face with the Houndmaster Shaw, and this Grizzly is going to be a 3/9 given how quickly Slyssa's been burning through her hand.
Yeah, the Grizzlies for both players. I think this Grizzly for both players actually been a key pickup. That damage is starting to get through to Teebs a little bit too much.
Yeah, and in this matchup, do you ever just slam Rexar? I mean, obviously not in this turn with the Grizzly, but is she going to be looking to play that Rexar out, or is she going to be looking to preserve the hero power as long as she can?
I think she just wants to burn through as fast as she can. She's got Katharina, which is good chance there's going to be a King Crush coming out there somewhere, especially with the Grizzly drawn. As long as you can keep trying to force the issue and burn the priest down, I think you do that. It's only when that fails you sort of fall back on the Rexar plan.
Yeah, and Mind Blast now picked up for Teebs is going to be giving her 34 damage from hand, which means that she just needs to get one bit of chip damage through in order to be able to get through even a Rexar giving Slysssa the 5 armor.
Yeah, and Teebs just setting off that cloning guy already gone for the inefficient resurrect of the gargoyle. This should be setting off alarm bells right now because that's not the thing you want to resurrect normally. But the extra coin, 3 coins, cloning gallery, that is just enough to.
Yeah, that'll be 10 mana, and then so she'd be able to do that next turn with both Velen and Malygos in hand, and that is going to cause Slysssa to put down that Rexar just to get herself out of range because Mind Blast and Holy Smite is 34. So if this does go off, especially with the Lyra having, the Lyra is still in deck, I believe, right? So
yes, just Radiant and Gargoyle then.
Yeah, so she can get access to additional burn potentially. She could get another Holy Smite off of a Lyra generation.
And Teebs just going for it, see what she gets.
Yep. May as well. There's 14. Slysssa down to 1. She's gonna start digging with some of these 0-cost cards thanks to the Radiant Elemental. It's going to draw with the Power Word Shield, and there's the other Holy Smite off of the Lyra. Wow.
Yeah, another sort of fast and in the same game, I think.
Yeah. And again, not really anything that Slysssa could have done about that. I mean, she recognized the situation, saw the cloning gallery was coming, armored up to just give herself a chance to outlive it, and still just was not enough thanks to the Lyra generation.
Yeah, I think perfectly played by both players there.
Yeah. And so we're going into game 3. Teebs again going back to that cloning gallery priest against the control priest for Slysssa, and this is going to be a better matchup for Teebs even. Just the control priest taking considerably longer to get its ultimate win condition online than the cloning gallery priest does.
Yeah, the only saving grace here for the Clone Gallery Priest is that Psychic Scream. Not the Clone Gallery Priest, sorry, the Control Priest is the Psychic Scream. You can at least fill the Clone Gallery Priest deck with a bit of junk that can sort of really mess with them.
Yeah. Yep. And again, the cloning gallery in hand for Teebs with her, by turn 2. So that's going to be on the table. She's not going to have presumably won't have Lyra generation coming out of this one with it in hand, but I think she's probably okay with that.
Yeah, she's already got this. I've got one Smite and one Shadow Visions that could effectively be a Mind Blast.
Yeah. And Slysssa getting an extra Mind Blast of her own off of that Fire Tree, Fire Tree Witch Doctor. So that's accelerating her game plan a little bit, but she has a lot more to do. She can't just throw out a bunch of coins and burn down face on turn 6. She generally needs to like turn 10 or 11 to set up the Alex and the Anduin in order to be able to get all that damage through.
Yeah, this is definitely rough, but I think Slysssa she is probably got the best possible start she can have here, and the way she's been super aggressive as well, which I love. She's pressing the issue straight away. Then 2 Mind Blasts basically means that Teebs is on 17 health right now.
Yeah, and this deck can function as a tempo deck when it wants to and when it gets the right draw, and coining out the Scale Worm is definitely a nod to that. Even though it takes away Slyssa's turn 4, getting that 5 damage in early is way more important than having something to do next turn.
Yeah, let me see. Teebs has nothing at all to deal with this right now.
Yeah. And even next turn, she really doesn't. She can put down a Tempo Lyra and just hope that soaks some damage. Well, she can Shadow Visions now and try to find something else, but I'm not sure what she's going to find that's going to help her other than, I mean, she can Mass Hysteria next turn or Spirit Lash for a little bit of heal, but...
Yeah, the Master Steel is not very clean. The Skill One will definitely live.
Yeah.
So maybe just take the second Lash.
I mean, she can Mass Hysteria and then commit the Holy Smite to be able to take out the Scale Worm, but that's going to be spending some of her burn from her deck too.
That's true. I think Sliss is happy with that.
Yeah. Looking for more burn, can get a Holy Fire if she wants to, or a Mind Vision, or even Thought Steal to get two chances at burn out of Teebs' deck. All 3 of those have merit.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Holy Fire is maybe the safe one here, just guaranteed burn, but maybe she thinks 6 mana is a bit too expensive.
Yeah, I mean that would give her lethal over 2 turns, assuming no healing from Teebs potentially. I mean, she's doing 5, 7, 8 this turn to bring her down to 15. She can even commit a Mind Blast now if she wants to. I wouldn't necessarily expect her to do that, but that would actually set up lethal if there's no healing from Teebs next turn if she does commit that Mind Blast here.
Yeah, be interested. I think she's definitely considering it. She's really hesitating this turn.
Yeah,
and probably thinking this through. Like, obviously, we see with Caster Vision, it's not a bad idea, but
yeah. I mean, what's the punish, right? It's Shadow Essence into Lash the following turn for her to be able to heal up that damage. There's not really, other than Lyra shenanigans. I mean, Lyra could give Binding Heals and regenerates or whatever, but there's not really anything else that's going to let her heal up a lot of that damage for another turn or 2. That Mass Hysteria is going to come in, clear up everything but the Cleric.
I think that's about as good as you could hope for there.
Yeah, and don't have to commit that Holy Smite in order to clear off the 5 attack minion. So that's a pretty positive result as far as Teebs is concerned. Slysssa does have this damage from hand though. If she wants to just start burning down face, that is going to it is going to set off some warning signs for Teebs that the rest of the burn's probably in hand if she decides to do that rather than playing out, say, like a Cabal Shadow Priest or a Dragon Moss Scorcher or something like that, though.
Yeah, I think it's a bit premature. I mean, although you don't know if she's got healing hand, I think Slysssa does know she has to heal up at least, which will get Teebs just out of range.
She is going to go for it, though.
Okay, so this is basically saying, like, you need to taunt, or you need some healing as well as your heal power here, not to die.
Yeah, because with the 2 Mind Blast plus the 1 attack from the minion would be 11. I mean, she can Psychic Scream to get herself out of range. That probably feels terrible.
Well, she can't heal power if she Psychic Screams.
Yeah, I mean, she could Lyra Spirit Lash, and that would get her out of range as well. No, it wouldn't.
She just has to Spirit Lash and heal herself.
Yeah, that's the
Or
only.
Spirit Lash Holy Smite. That's
Yeah.
about it. All she can do. That's super, super heads up if she can do that.
It looks like what she's aiming for. She's hovering over that Spirit Lash.
Yeah, I think Slysssa has effectively shown her hand by going straight the Holy Smite there,
Right.
the Holy Fire there. But
Oh, she's gonna shield first to try to dig for something else. Finds a
the
Mind
X would be
Blast.
nice.
Yeah, that Mind Blast is good to have if she can get through this turn. So she's going to heal herself up to 12, and Mass Hysteria is not what Slyssa's looking for. So what do you do now that, I mean, now that you put that plan on the table, I mean, you can just kind of, if you just hit her again and don't do anything else, then you're letting her go up to 13 and be able to play something else on top of it.
Yeah, you definitely can't Mind Blast here. I think maybe you take a step back, you develop the board, draw a card with your Cleric, and you still got the 2 Mind Blasts. That 10 damage is not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, presenting any sort of a board right now is going to be enough of a threat to kind of put Teebs off her own game plan, which is also just good for Slysssa, because that means that she's not advancing herself towards a safe cloning gallery.
Yeah, that Shadow Vision is excellent pickup for Slysssa now as well. That could be another Mind Blast quite easily.
Even a Holy Fire, you know, if she needs it defensively, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
There is no Holy Fires in Slysssa.
Oh, there's not. Okay.
No, which is quite interesting as well. I think we can actually pick up on that earlier.
So back to 11 is Teebs. Slyssa's gonna look for that Mind Blast and finds it.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Wow. And just
all
like
these
that,
games being crazy.
This is not how the script is supposed to go.
Be fast kills every single game.
Yeah.
Everyone close to lethal every time.
Yeah. So now Slyssa's going to be on that Control Priest through the rest of Teebs' lineup, and she's going to have to get through the mid-range Hunter, which could be dicey, and if she does get to that Odd Paladin, she's going to, I mean, not the way that this match has been going, because this has been pretty much the opposite of how all these games are supposed to go, but theoretically she's going to have to just get through this mid-range Hunter, which I would expect from Teebs coming up next, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And then if she can survive the mid-range Hunter, she should be feeling a lot better against that Odd Paladin.
Yeah, it's quite a curious spot here, because although the score is sort of 1-2 for Slysssa, I almost feel like she's favored here with these 2 matches coming up. So it doesn't, the score doesn't necessarily represent what's actually going on here.
Oh yeah. All these games have been incredibly close, like way closer than it would seem, especially given how fast they've been going. And Teebs gonna put out that Plated Beetle, allowing Slysssa to draw the extra card, but also getting the body on board quickly for that Crackling Razor Maw.
I think that's a good deal. I think giving that away just to get the Razor Maw down.
Yep, and that Crackling Razor Maw is going to come down. +3 attack, +3 health, can't be targeted. +3 attack will allow her to very cleanly trade off that Cleric. That Tar Creeper's a sight for sore eyes, though.
Yeah. Perfect answer here. Unfortunately, the +3 attack is sort of the preemptive response to this Tar Creeper as well.
Yeah, but even then, you know, taking 3 damage this turn instead of 8 with nothing happening for several turns based on the texture of her hand has got to be a little bit of a relief for Slysssa. And that Cleric's a kind of a whiff, though, because that just dies on board.
Yeah. I think there's still definitely a consideration just to chuck it out there. I mean, 3 damage on your Cleric is 3 damage not on your face.
Yeah, one damage, heal 3. I mean, Priest does have zero mana here, heal 3, but 1 mana, heal 3 is not the worst deal in the world against a deck like this. Choosing just to Hero Power and pass, though. And now Teebs is going to Dire Frenzy that Crackling Razor Maw, which is one of the best targets in this deck.
Never want to see that, especially if it comes
Yeah.
straight off the top. Gives us Wind Fury to the next one.
Yeah. Oh, that Scale Worm will at least allow Slysssa to be able to trade off this first 6/5. The one saving grace is that Teebs had to use that first Master's Call already, so there's only one left to start digging that out. But even so, this flanking strike again is going to just keep putting stuff on board and making Slysssa answer it.
So we do have the Witch Doctor here. So what are you looking for from this? Do you think? Does she need? She got 2 screams, so she just want removal. She want more burn damage, or maybe some healing.
Yeah, probably. I would think she'd probably want healing or removal. I might even be eyeing that Power Word Replicate just to be able to get something else on board potentially. Like turn one of the if she draws another one of these early drops, or if the fire or if Teebs decides to just ignore the fire tree, she can at least get another 5/5 on board.
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably the best option here. I mean, the circle doesn't help too much with both
No.
characters gone. The Vivid Nightmare is like you get the attack of the replicate, but you don't get the health to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if she can manage to steal a Houndmaster Shaw, no, there's no Houndmaster Shaw in this deck. So, or she can steal like a High Main or something like that. Maybe that's relevant. I mean, the circle is also not super useful with both clerics being gone already.
Yeah, definitely. Who knows? Maybe she steals Tundra Rhino and then gives her
Yeah,
Scale Worms charge as well.
yeah. Or she could steal at least steal a Timberwolf, and then they can buff each other. That's kind of low value, but so
It's cute though. I like it.
yeah. I mean, Vivid Nightmare is one of those cards that just gives you weird ways to win the game, and you know that's pretty much on brand for this match. So, but that scream immediately answered by the Savannah High Main, though Slysssa has both the Psychic Scream and the Shadow Reaper Anduin to answer this,
Yeah,
if she so
I,
chooses.
I think the Anduin to Primal Drake looks pretty juicy right now.
Yeah. It does take away her healing, but I mean, healing to a turn against this deck is not really doing too much for her at this point.
Yeah, you want to be using all of your mana to sort of get onto the board rather than just be healing.
Yeah. I mean, she basically loses the armor from the minions on board next turn. She could even Cabal Shadow Priest and ping off the hyenas if she so chooses, but I would imagine there's probably going to be more where that came from if she does Anduin here.
Yeah, there's one of them situations where the lack of holy fires in the deck is very relevant now, since
Yeah.
once the Anduin does come down, that is literally all the healing on besides Alexstrasza.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes being able to get like the second Holy Fire off of a Shadow Visions is enough to be able to do that damage, remove something, heal for 5. Without it, it sometimes gets a little precarious against aggressive. I mean, this is a mid-range deck, but for our purposes, it's an aggro deck as far as the Control Priest is concerned.
Yeah, this Drake's going to do work though with no Hunter's Mark in hand currently.
Yeah, I wonder if Teebs is sniffing that out a little bit, decides to use a Dire Frenzy on something like the Lynx to try to play around that a little bit.
That would be very heads up, I think. But I'd love to see it.
I mean, I'm not putting anything past Teebs after what we saw in the first game, so
You could go for the Razormaw here, look for Wind Fury, pair that with the Defense.
Yeah, does she run one Tundra Rhino or 2 in the list?
She runs 1 Rhino. That's her only Rhino gone.
Yeah, so that she just gave up her only opportunity of getting a Rhino, and oh boy. She is going to use that Dire Frenzy. This is, I mean, Slysssa has the Psychic Scream to answer this, but this is a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is what, 11, 12 damage just 10 alone. And sort of with the hero power and the kill command, that's very close to being dead.
Yeah, and again, no way outside of Alexstrasza to be able to heal up that damage. I would imagine, yeah, Slyssa's not even going to think too hard about this Psychic Scream. There's really nothing else that her hand gives her that is going to give her any opportunity to be able to live through this next turn. And yes, and Teebs just won off, but very, very close.
one sort of thing we haven't talked about is that Cabal Shadow Priest can steal that plated beetle.
Yeah,
It's
she could
cute,
also
but it's a little bit hitting.
she also could steal the links, run it into the beetle and clear it. The scale worm is going to help too. The problem is, I mean, this will answer the board. We can see if Slysssa doesn't heal this turn, she's just dead because of the links and the kill command and hero power being at 6.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have the foresight to do that? I think even with cast vision, is there a way she can survive this turn?
Yeah, I mean, you have to just pretend kill command's not a card at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing she can do about it. But we can see that this is, there's no way to deal that 30 damage, and this is going to be, without any way to heal. Again, it goes back to what you were pointing out about that Holy Fire not being in the list. It is really looming large right now, because being able to get that Holy Fire off and burn off one of these minions and heal out of range of the kill command would be huge.
Yeah. It's exactly what we needed here.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of different ways that she can deal with this board, and she's gonna try to steal that beetle, assuming that there's no, hopefully there's no kill command in hand, but that looks like that's going to be it.
Yep, we know it's there.
Yep. Teebs is not going to miss a lethal like that.
No, she planned this all the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that is going to do it. And 3-1 to Teebs, though. Again, as you said, a couple times in the last game, that this match is not nearly as the score. It does not show how close some of these games were. Especially maybe not that last one. That last one was a little bit more what the mid-range hunter does to a control priest, but the others were right down to like one turn and one player just getting what they needed one turn sooner.
Yeah, they're absolutely insane. I think it's a wonderful series to watch there. Like one tiny misstep for either player could have changed the outcome of just about every game except that last one, I think.
Yeah. And even in that last game, like, you can see how well Slysssa knows that matchup and knows exactly what she needs to do. It, just even knowing what she needs to do, sometimes it's not going to work out, but knowing how aggressive she needed to be, coining out that scale worm just to be able to get the extra damage on board, trying to get as much damage through as she possibly could. And, it just, it doesn't always work out. But, and she didn't really have the defensive tools that she needed in that game to be able to hold off the mid-range hunter that just had threats turn after turn after turn. And you only have so many answers as the control priest, even though it sometimes doesn't feel like it when you're playing against them.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think what we can conclude from here is mid-range hunter is still a pretty good deck.
Yeah. Mid-range hunter. Mid-range hunter is a pretty good deck, and it's the only one that it doesn't really need hunters, lets it fit in more threats. So Teebs is going to move on to the next round, and you can make sure to follow both Teebs and Slysssa. Teebs is, I believe, Teebs Gaming on Twitter, and Slysssa is do you have Slysssa? At F2K Slysssa, so you can make sure to follow both the players, and well played to both of them. That was a fantastic series, even though it went a little bit faster than I think we would have expected.
Yeah, I truly loved every minute of it. I think the last series was very much the same as well. It's like super close games. Both players know exactly what they're doing, and
yeah,
the score again doesn't represent how close the series was, I don't think.
Yeah. So we're gonna be taking about a 15 to 20 minute break. Gives Teebs a chance to reset and prep for her next match, which will be against Future Shock. Kat, any final thoughts before we go to break?
And I just want to thank everyone for this wonderful tournament, and I wish Teebs good luck in the future matches as well as Future Shock as well.
Yeah,
and I'll be watching as well to meet them for the day.
Yeah, me too. This is the only match I'll be casting, but and I'm happy that this is the only match I'm casting, because that means there's a lot more women to be casting these matches. So, but I'm happy to be even a small part of this tournament, and and what a great thing it's been for the community. And I'm really excited to see how the rest of the tournament turns out. So for Cat, I'm Wicked Good. Stick around 15 to 20 minutes and we will have Teebs versus Future Shock for you. Don't go anywhere.